Central Michigan last night. Good meeting. Special teams, offense, defense, got all the videotape watched, graded. Obviously all day yesterday, and I was happy with the way our guys came to play. Talked about the adversity. I told you after the game, I was happy with that. But just when you think about just the Mid-American Conference, I told you guys, you can get caught. A week ago, Central Michigan beats San Jose State. Ohio versus Rutgers a week ago. Again, this is something I fed to our guys, and they trust in what we're talking about. They get it, and they bought in. Ohio versus Rutgers, 17-31 at halftime. Okay, which similar score the other day, and then the final is 31-34. Ohio gets beat, to a Big Ten team. Kentucky, SEC versus Toledo. It was 10-2 at halftime. Kentucky ended up being a 16-24 game. Miami of Ohio, Wisconsin, it's 3-0 at halftime. Wisconsin's up. It ends up being a 17-0 Wisconsin win. Not kind of where you want to be. Buffalo versus Minnesota, it's 10-3 at halftime. Ends up being a 23-10 game. Okay, so we could have found ourselves in the same thing with Akron. Okay, it's 3-0 at halftime, and then Wyoming beats Akron 10-0. So we could have been in that spot, and that's what I'm most proud about our guys. Is they bought in. Like I said, we've had a detailed group. This whole since the spring, fall camp. I mean, they listen, they take coaching, they do what you ask them to do, and they did exactly like we as a staff asked them to do. So we direct all of our attention back towards our next opponent. So we're excited to get into this week. As you guys all know, you guys are excited. We're excited. Cameron is excited. So we're excited about the game that presents ourselves here. Rich Rodriguez, obviously a fantastic football coach. He's been around, done a lot of different things, won a lot of football games. He's a heck of a coach. So it'll be a heck of a ball game down in that atmosphere down there in Morgantown. So we're excited about that. Coach Rodriguez obviously calls the plays on offense. So he's a dynamic play caller. Saw him when I was at Michigan. Had a chance to face him when I was at Cincinnati for 2 years, when they were a top 10 football team with Slayton, who's on their staff now, and Pat White, who's on their staff now. I think Schmidt's the only guy they haven't hired, but they'll probably bring him back this week. But Schmidt was the guy, for some of you young people, used to smash his helmet against his head, kind of like Devin Danielson, but he drew blood. But they were unbelievable. That was some great teams back in the day. I know that's what Rich Rod is trying to get back to having that type of football team. So again, offensively, Nico Marchiol is obviously a starting quarterback. They'll play 3 quarterbacks, not like last week, but he does a fantastic job. The other guy that take notice is Cam Vaughn. Their wideout number 4. He's a Jacksonville State transfer. And again, I might, as I say the word transfer, 14 of their guys on offense, 14 on defense, total of 28 transfers are in their 2 deep. Okay, so with 28 transfers in their 2 deep, and probably maybe 2 of their really best players are 2 guys from Jacksonville State that Coach Rodriguez recruited there and brought with them down there. So, but Cam Vaughn, we got to know where he is, number 4, and obviously Jaheim White is a player. Their tight end Grayson Barnes is another deep threat. I think he's got 4 catches. A guy we got to know where he is with play action pass and all that. And then defensively, the defensive coordinator is Zach Allen, excuse me. Zach does a great job. They're very multiple on defense. They're going to play some 4 down, 3 down, a bunch of different 3 down fronts. They'll get into a bear look. They do a bunch of different coverages. So they've been fun to watch. Again, the one thing I'll say about a West Virginia football program is they will be tough, okay, and they will play great effort. You put the tape on, you're seeing them fly around. They are playing hard. He's got them playing really hard and really tough and physical. So that's what I see on tape out of them. So open it up with questions. No questions.
After watching the tape, how did you feel Sean Lee and Shadarian handled their work on Saturday?
Being that, again, we say we got 4 starters, 5 starters, whatever. I mean, you can talk 1s and 2s, but the majority of that game we played with our maybe, if you want to call them backup corners. I thought both of them did an outstanding job. Not only in the pass game, but in the run game as well. Obviously things we can clean up, but I was happy. I mean, I told you since August that Sean Lee's a football player, and we've talked about drips and spring ball. Shadarian, that is. So those are 2 really good football players.
You have 2 games on tape now. Are there any areas of the team that are still underwhelming at this point in the season?
For Pitt, you're saying?
Yeah.
Underwhelming. We'll find out this week, right? I mean, I think when we start to get in, to Power 4 games, okay, which is what we all want to play all the time, that's when you really find out, and we'll find out, when you play better personnel, but teams that maybe, and again, like I said, the MAC, there's no disrespect, they will be a bowl eligible team this year. They will, who knows? They might be in the MAC championship. I think they do a great job coaching. They're detailed, and I like what they do. I think they're different, and I think that's going to make them win some games in the MAC. So, but once you get into ACC play, you get into playing Big 12 teams. They're well coached too, right? I mean, Rich Rodriguez is a good coach. Allen's a good coach. So they're going to be well coached, and that's when you sometimes can get exposed. So we'll find out. So audition number 3 on the road. Find out.
Through the first 2 games of the season, have you been content with how the offensive line has been able to create lanes or not create lanes of the running backs?
Yeah, I've been happy. Again, there's some things they did different. I mean, you look at even last week, you're adjusting on the run, but San Jose, they lined up in 2 5s and a 0. Like, they didn't run any. I mean, only on a true passing down today of getting into that same front. So they gave us a lot of different looks up front, which is great. I think our O-line did a great job at figuring all that out. We gave up 1 sack again. That's 2 weeks in a row. We'll find out if we get exposed this week, right? I mean, that's when you find out. We'll find out the next week after that, and the next week after that, if we can keep that 1 sack a game. But really, both sacks this year we shouldn't have gave up. Ryan thought there was a twist going on, but I've been happy with him. I mean, he thought he just overplayed an end going inside, and then he went back outside, and that happens. But I've been happy with the offensive line.
For most of your Pitt tenure, you didn't have the backyard brawl on the schedule. Now with 3 under your belt, what have you sort of learned about the significance of this rivalry?
Oh boy, it's a rivalry game. I've been in a lot of rivalry games throughout my career, and it's just another one of those rivalries that happens to be Pitt versus West Virginia. So excited about that. There's a lot of hatred in the game. I think the fans hate each other, and I think it goes way back. I think there's for whatever reason, lots of scars that people have that they haven't got over them yet. But for us as a football team, all the things in the crowd and the stands and what happens when you're driving on the bus, all that stuff really doesn't matter. It's what happens on that football field that's going to matter, and the team that stays focused the best. I'm really, the task at hand is winning a football game. That's what we're going down there to do, is try to win a football game. And but we're not going to get all hyped into what the fans felt 35 years ago, 40 years ago. What happens on September 13th will be the key.
When you look back to that 2023 game in Morgantown, were there some things that you learned or took away from that game that you can help this team prepare for when you go down there?
Not really. Not really. I mean, it's an away game. You got to deal with the locker room situation. It won't be like a home locker where you have space. So I've already talked to our guys last night, just to be prepared for a lack of space and hospitality down there. So not really. There's nothing you're going to take from the game. I thought we went down and played solid as a football team. Came away short the last time. Didn't play really good on offense at all. I thought we played really good on defense, and we'll take that away, I guess. And I won't even talk about the last time we went down. It doesn't even matter. It was 2 years ago.
Will you take the whole?
I remember it, by the way. I remember it.
Will you take all 105 guys down to them?
Yeah, we'll travel Friday, and then we're bringing the whole room down. They all, which is what we normally do for rivalry game. I want everybody to be there and be a part of that.
You talked to us last week ahead of Central Michigan that sometimes when you go into a game and you end up losing to a perceived inferior foe, how it can be a wake-up call for a team. West Virginia, of course, is coming off of such a loss on the road at Ohio, and I'm just wondering from your vantage point, after losses like that, what can be the determining factors for a team on if it served as a wake-up call, if you're able to grow from it, or if it kind of makes you spiral?
I'd say advantage West Virginia. I mean, we're feeling good at 2-0, and they had a tough loss, so they will be prepared. Rich Rodriguez will get them prepared. They'll have a great week of practice. We will get their best game, like we always do. They will be intense. They'll be tough. They'll be physical. They'll play fast. That's what we expect. Whether they won or lost, I'm expecting the same thing. But I think we'll probably face even an angrier, team and an angrier fan base.
Do you have to guard it all against players potentially looking at a score like that and thinking they're going to go down and play a downtrodden foe?
talking our team go down there and feel like that?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we won't have that problem. That
And
won't be a
how
problem
encouraged,
here.
sorry, finish it.
Through a couple of games, how similar are West Virginia to what you've seen from Rich Rodriguez? Can you see, are there changes from what last time you faced Rodriguez? Well, obviously, he's trying to institute his system.
He's very similar. I'm sure all the terminology's changed, but he's very similar. Not that we knew any of the terminology, but he's been, a couple places since he's got there. But just what they do is very similar to what we faced for 3 years at Michigan State when I was there and faced him in, what was it, 8, 9, and 10, I think, in those games. So very similar, different personnel, different things that they had strengths at. I mean, they had Denard Robinson back in the day, Tate Forcier, and obviously, gone back and watched all those games during the summer and yesterday, last night. So, they had really good talent. They were really good up there. We'll be ready to go.
After watching the tape, just what did you like or what sticked out about Mason Heinchel's series at the end of the game?
He put it in the end zone at the end, like we did the week before. Knowing why this week, as far as just throwing the ball, like he needs to get reps. He was very efficient. He had to put a little bit more or less air on that one pass over the middle to Max. But he's a guy. You guys tell me your impressions. But you look at a really sharp young freshman coming in with poise. We didn't see a rookie moment out of him really. Made good decisions. Got rid of the ball one time when he got pressured. You just see a guy that's far beyond his years. Will, you got a question?
Yeah, well,
You've been getting butted out here.
it's all right. I was just gonna ask you how encouraged you are by what you've seen from the wide receivers. I mean, especially I think going into the season, I was wondering who's gonna step up and kind of help Kenny out, and it seems like you've got guys that have answered the bell.
But happy. Obviously, Poppy's had a heck of a year so far. Got to keep that going. Kenny continues to. There was a couple times we wanted more targets for him, but we didn't get him the ball for whatever reason. But Kenny's been outstanding. Blue, got the ball in his hands one time. I think he had a couple catches as well. So I've been happy with that whole crew. Zion Fowler L has been coming in, and I think he had 2 catches as well. Again, just doing your job, executing. That's what we ask, and they were solid.
You said you'd like to see Kenny get the ball more, but I mean, how would you rate when Eli's being as productive as he is?
Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But there was some targets that we wanted to get to him that he was open and we just couldn't get it to him for whatever reason. That happens in a game. So when you watch a videotape, you kind of go, we had a play for Kenny there, and so again, there's some tags where you're trying to get a guy a ball here and there. We've got to find a way to get it to him as much as the other guys in that room. But again, Eli's doing a good job sitting in the pocket and finding the right guys, and he's been really patient. I mean, he looks like a different guy in the pocket compared to what he looked like a year ago.
We got to see Ja'Karian Turner for the first time, Boosie, on Saturday, and I was wondering just what your impressions were on him.
I told you the Boost was going to get loose. Boosie was loose. It was fun to get him some reps out there and see what he's got. I think he can help us this season. I don't anticipate him redshirting. That was like his first scrimmage because he didn't get a jersey scrimmage in this August. So it was good to get him out there and get him some game time. He had a big smile on his face after the game, having a chance to obviously just to get in the end zone. The first game he's ever played in Acrisure Stadium. So I think that's neat. But he ran well and did like we kind of thought he might.
Seemed like Jaheim White got a little banged up in their game.
Who's that?
Jaheim White got banged up. Do you have to prepare, assuming that he's going to play?
We prepare like everybody's playing. I'm going to see if I can get Jerry DiPaolo hooked up, see if he'll call down there and find out if he can find something out. But we prepare for everybody. He's their best tailback, Jaheim, and the next kid in there's a tough dude. What the heck's his name? He's really tough. On defense here. What is his name? I love Clay Ashman. He's a 5'9", 94-pound guy. Clay Ashman, number 27. The dude sticks it up in there. He is a physical dude. I can see why Coach Rodriguez likes this kid as their number 2 tailback. But both of them are good players. Obviously, Jaheim's got a little bit more juice, but this other guy's got a different pace.
What do you think Virginia's defense?
He looks like Scatabo. Is that his name, Scatabo? That's what he's a physical dude. I'm sorry.
What does West Virginia's defense do well?
Oh boy, a bunch of things. I mean, when you look at where they are defensively in the country, red zone defense I know is really good. red zone, they're darn good there. Pass efficiency, they're 38th in the country. They're better than we are. But they're going to mix it up. That's what they do well. They're going to try to trick you and put themselves in a good position. So I think they do a great job, just changing things up and giving you different looks and trying to confuse your offensive linemen and your running backs and everybody else.
You asked earlier, is anything underwhelmed you to this point? What about the flip side of that? Has anything over the first 8 quarters coalesced and is further down the tracks than you anticipated in a positive light?
Not really. Not really. And again, it's hard because I probably should ask you guys that question. Hey, what's underwhelmed you guys? And what have you been happy with? Nothing's underwhelming. Nothing is like, wow, I can't believe we are good at this or that. I think it's kind of, because I get to see them every day. There's not surprises because we see, we get to open up presents under the tree every day when we watch our guys play and try to get lined up and make plays on all 3 phases of the game. So nothing really surprises me. Again, maybe some things surprise you guys, but I've seen it for a while now.
Do you think rivalries look or feel any different in this era of player movement?
I would say probably. I would think, now again, it's not going to be any different for the guys in this room, whether they played in this game before or not. I'm going to educate them on what a rivalry is, what it's going to be like, and I'm sure Coach Rodriguez will do the same thing. He's been there before too.
Is there any concern with I know Eli's done really well in the first 2 games, but is there any concern with the picks that he's thrown?
Not really. I mean, he's trying to make a play, and he's thrown a lot of touchdown passes too. So he's been really good. He's not going to be perfect. I mean, we'd all like him. Would I like him to be perfect? Yes. But there's a lot of other things. I mean, it hadn't been like, what are you doing? I've seen those too. I've seen the good and the bad. So I've seen, we've thrown picks in camp. It's not like it was the first 2 interceptions he's thrown on the year. But he knows. He kicks himself in the butt. He knows he takes accountability for it, and he'd rather have it then than this weekend for sure. So hopefully we protect the football because the game of football is the ball. You got to protect it.
How pleased have you been with his decision making, when to stay in the pocket versus when to scramble?
Happy. Okay, if we weren't happy, he wouldn't be our starting quarterback. We're happy with him. He's going to be in the pocket. He's going to scramble. He's got, like, it's so hard. Again, I always talk about the clicker. It's easy to sit with the eye in the sky and look at the click. Pull that clicker, rewind it, draw on the screen, and go. You should have stayed right there. You could have stepped up in the pocket a little bit. It wasn't a real big pocket, but those are decisions that guys with athletic ability they got to go do what they got to do. And it's hard to. I think if you start telling him just stay in the pocket all the time, we'll lose who he is, right? I mean, he likes to get out of the pocket. He likes to step up in the pocket. I mean, I think he does an unbelievable job of running and then throwing him, and draws people up, throws it behind him. And that's what he shows on. I mean, every day in practice, that's what he does. Pascal, he'll step up and still throw it. It's like, holy cow! So he steps up. He's going to get out. I think, as a defensive guy, we're always looking to find out what's that quarterback going to do. But if he always steps up, we know that's going to happen. Does he always scramble? 2 weeks ago, we had a quarterback from Duquesne that from the tape we saw, wherever he was, this dude spun out every time and ran backwards to his left about 20 yards. And he did it in a game. So but we knew that going in, and we were like, listen, if you're on the right side, your end or linebacker blitzing off, that guy's he's gonna duck out, he's gonna spin out, and he's gonna get real deep. So we practice that, but where's Eli go? I don't know. I mean, we'll always have defensively a little scattergram of where he's going. We'll know exactly where they're going, and we want to know, do we bring pressure to that side, bring pressure to that side, do we bring it up the middle? What does he do? I don't know if you can say he does anything a lot. He's a football player, and I think quarterbacks with instincts make plays, and you don't want to coach against that.
Your defense has one takeaway through the 2 games. Are there opportunities there that they're just not capitalizing, or is it just a product of the offenses you played against?
We dropped one in the opener, so we should have had that one. So we dropped one in the opener, but the opportunities really haven't been there, in my opinion. But opportunities are when the ball touched your hands. Maybe we could have had another one this weekend. I forget. The opportunity's got to be there. That'll happen. I mean, you look at a year ago. I mean, we didn't have any sacks. I think we came out of Kent State with 0 sacks. But when teams are trying to get the ball out really quick, and they're trying to be safe, and they're trying to protect the ball and do different things. So it all depends on what they're doing. I mean, last week it's hard to get many fumbles because they're packed in the box and, running backs running through with two hands like Larry Zonka back in the day. So it's, we're out there, we're trying to punch balls out, but they're not coming out. But, we've had maybe a couple opportunities on quarterbacks that we'd like to maybe get the ball out to. So that's something we work on a lot. And I think, we'll see what happens the rest of the season, but I think our defense is one of the best at just trying to get the ball out right now that I've been involved with in 10 years here at Pitt.
Pat, you mentioned that the rivalries are different now, maybe in the portal era with the player movement. But this is the fourth year in a row you guys have played. Will you do anything to educate the newcomers in this, or you just let the guys that have been around and been in this game kind of?
Yeah, I'll give them a brief.
You let this guy get up and say a few words?
No, Bostic's not getting up and say a few words. Again, our guys know they don't need a pep talk. They don't need Bostic coming in and talking about the old heydays. They know what it's about. Okay, they've heard enough. I'll say a few words. They'll know after I get done, and that's about it, man. It's about preparation, guys. I mean, it's about staying in the same routine. This game is no bigger than the last two, because this game's not very big if we don't win last week. I mean, they continue to get bigger as you go on. I mean, in another 2 weeks, we have a different team in front of us. So it's about the preparation. It's about Pitt. And it's about how we execute and practice this week. That's what I want to see.
Back at Media Days, you spoke about wanting to make this rivalry an annual thing again before it, goes away, comes back in 29. Has there been any progress on that? And I guess here on the eve of game week, what would you like to see happening with this series going forward?
Yeah, we'd like to see obviously the game we played. I think it's going to pick up in 28 or 29. Which year is it? I thought it was 29, but 29. I thought it was 29. So it's going to be a while since we played them again. So I think there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I'd like this game to be played. I'd like to play Penn State. I like to play any rivalry game. I think just having that on our schedule is a lot of fun as a coach and a player, and it's great